you guys have all got other things to do as well besides this. So let me know when you've done that, and we'll get going.
We are recording, and I'm going to go ahead and mute myself until you need me, Vince.
Okay. So let's take roll real quick. Gina, I've heard from you. I've heard from May. You came on. Who else? Who else is there?
I think Mary's on and Nick is on.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, guys, thanks for taking the time on the MAR enrollment. If you take a look around the room, which is our virtual room, there's probably 100 plus years of experience here with enrolling. So, you know, you're all professionals. I want to do a couple of things. One is I want to tell you what's going on with the enrollment so far, and we're going to talk a little bit about a strategy. And, you know, it's like riding a bike. Once you start seeing 2 or 3 people, you'll know what's going on. But the other thing, and the more important thing, and I'm going to give this over to Ronnie, is let's just talk about the product menu, which I'll discuss a little bit, but most notably a little bit more about the MetLife products. So understand that there's going to be one whopping Kaiser plan. The comments that the broker would have given if the broker was here is the following. They're really not interested in driving a lot of medical insurance for these employees. That's coming from the broker, and that's also coming from the account. So we'll talk about that in the enrollment strategy, but in noting that, you know, we are being hired, besides, you know, having the fuel from your supplemental products, we are being hired to capture all kinds of stuff, participation declinations, and that stuff is probably the #1 priority of what we are doing in this enrollment. What we have found out is that the MetLife products are selling very well, and one of the reasons why they're selling very well is they're very low priced. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think the best thing to do is start with the product offering, Ronnie. So if you want to talk a little, just really a high-level overview, because I know it's all going, the SPCs are going out to them and so on and so forth, and so is the MEC plan if they haven't seen them already. But let's talk about the MetLife benefits as well. So go ahead, Ronnie.
Okay. Well, as far as the core benefits, it's super easy. There's one medical plan. In California, it's Kaiser, and it's an HSA plan. And Nick, for you, in Chicago, it's an Anthem plan. Both of them are HSA plans. Kaiser in California, Nick, I know you're not aware of Kaiser, but that's an HMO plan. Both plans, there is like an employer portion that they are paying. Anything over and above that, the rate's already built into the system. But again, like Vince was saying, this is probably like the first time where we're not really trying to push, the, core medical benefits, but it's there if the employee wants it. The main thing is we want it offered, and we want them to either enroll or decline. It's capturing the declines. Also, both plans, Kaiser for California or Anthem in Illinois or South Carolina, they're HSA plans. If they take the plans, their best interest would be to open up an HSA account, with their bank. They're not required to do so. But if you're going to have a plan with a high deductible, plan that's HSA available, it'd be in their best interest to do so. So they're not required to, but if somebody should take the HSA Kaiser or HSA Anthem, instruct them to, go to the bank to set up an HSA. The only problem with this that I can foresee, Vince, is that a lot of employees might say, what is an HSA? And then we're, kind of stuck to try to explain it. Since it's not employer funded and it's not employer provided an HSA, anybody on this call, if you don't know what an HSA is, a health, savings account, call me tomorrow and we'll go over it in more detail. And then this way you have the information to be able to pass on to the employee. But it's basically a bank account that they can set up, usually at their own account, whether it's Wells Fargo, doesn't matter, Bank of America. They can take some money, they can put it in that account and use that for any out-of-pocket copays or deductibles on their core plans. The only caveat to this is the plan has to be funded before the claim. So they can't go out, have a claim, and then run to the bank and put money into it. The money needs to be, funded and in that account prior to the use. So any other
Ronnie,
details?
let me chime in right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to benefit communicate that only. You're going to tell them about an HSA. You're going to ask them if they have an interest in an HSA. If they nod their head yes, then you can go a little bit farther with it. We're not advocating it. We just got told to benefit communicate it, and they're on their own. So you know how that's going to work. They're not going to do it, but if they want to, now, Gina, when you go see your Friday enrollments, you'll see participation. That's really why the HSA is being offered. 99% of the people in this group aren't even going to know what it is. They're not going to care. And if they don't care, then I want you to move on down the road. We'll talk about that on the sales strategy. But let's not we wanted to give you the details of this, but I don't want it to be something that we spend a lot of time on unless they said, oh my God, that's the greatest thing ever. I used to have one. Then we're going to talk about it. Okay. So a lot of times they're not even going to know. So anyway, that's kind of the story on HSA. So I'll go back to Ronnie and, get back into the rest of the products.
Another new last-minute addition was a MEC plan. I guess they were going to offer this later on down the line through their payroll. I'm not exactly sure. But the MEC plan is 100% voluntary. It's about $25 a month. It's a very limited ACA plan. We don't expect much participation in the MEC plan either, but it is something that's being offered. And there is a benefit guide with information on the MEC plan in the SBC folder that I sent you. So in the core folders that I sent you, there is a benefit guide regarding the MEC plan. You can look into it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm even not that familiar with the MEC plan. Actually, I didn't even know what a MEC plan was until about 3 weeks ago. But it's an ACA, very limited plan. Again, like Vince was saying, like with the Kaiser and the Anthem, bring it up, offer it to them. Unless they seem super interested, move on. Main thing is
another chime in by me, Ronnie. So Nick, there's about 40 people that were on the MEC plan this last year. That is the exact same plan that they had last year. For some reason, that got a little popular back in your neck of the woods. So bone up on that MEC plan. Any questions you have, get with Ronnie and or myself. And then for the rest of you, not a whole lot of participation on that. As we know out in California, a lot of Medi-Cal, and that's fine. So, we'll talk about that as well. If they said they were on it last year, you just ask them if they want to re-enroll. If they say no, let's move on, capture the declination and go. Okay, so go ahead, Ronnie.
Perfect. Main thing is there's some new MetLife supplemental benefit plans. There's a MetLife accident, a hospital confinement, and by the way, there's two options on both, a high and a low option available for the accident and the hospital confinement. And by the way, the price is actually not that much difference for a high and low plan. So if you can, I'd probably go with the high on this one just because the price difference is so minor. It'd be, better for have the richer benefits on the high plan. But your typical accident plan, helping with out-of-pocket expenses like copays and deductibles. It's on and off the job. I think anybody could use the accident plan. And since Domino's, I would have to gather, unless they're in management or corporate, a lot of these people are going to be just barely with enough hours to be able to get benefits and be offered this, and they might be younger. That could be a way to go because anybody can use an accident plan. So I would probably definitely make sure, especially the younger guys, look at that plan. The hospital confinement is your typical hospital confinement. Let me see here. Inside the SBCs that we sent you, it'll give the breakdown of the high and low options available. Again, help to design for out-of-pocket expenses. There's also a group term life that's being available. I think there's just a few tiers on that, and they can't do more than 5 times their salary. By the way, there's GI to 100,000 on this. I don't expect anybody to go over that. If somebody does, just give me a quick call because Vince, what you didn't know is I got a call from somebody at MetLife and I couldn't even tell you who it was. And they have a new form apparently, sort of like an evidence of insurability, but it's just for over the GI amount. I don't expect anybody to go over that amount, but if you guys run across anybody that does, just, note their name down and give me a quick call, and I'll see if there's any extra, thing that might need to be signed, because the lady from MetLife said she'd send me that form and she never did. So I'll look into it, but I think it's going to be a non-issue that we don't have to worry about it. They also have a critical illness plan, and that's for specified diseases, and this one does include cancer. So that's going to be a lump sum if, God forbid, they had a heart attack, stroke, cancer. If you're with Colonial, you already know about all these plans, and I think most of you being benefit enrollers have come across, all these plans before, just different carriers. Otherwise, they're pretty straightforward. One thing that's interesting is they're all post-tax, if you noticed on my enrollment guidelines. They are not doing a Section 125 plan. So anything that they roll in, it's totally post-tax. And my understanding, Vince, and please tell me if I'm correct about this, MetLife, the individual plans, are they fully portable?
Yeah, they are. They are. And even though they're on a group chassis, they are. And yes, to answer your question. So guys, here's kind of, again, we won't keep everybody on the phone a long time. Nick, I know you have some more detailed questions about the plans in particular. We need to get with you on that. I told you we'd save it for the call, but it's kind of looking that we're not going to be able to do that tonight based on everybody's schedule. So let's get with you tomorrow. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow as well. Ronnie will be in her office. But guys, let me tell you how this has been going. So here's some data for you, and I don't see anything outside of that going differently in the locations that you guys are at. And so here's how I'm going to say, from a sales strategy, from a completing the goal strategy, here's what we need to go with. So far, we've enrolled 36 people. We should have saw 26 more. They didn't show up. That's okay. That's not on us. Of the 36 people we enrolled, we did 73 policies on 36 people. The enrollers back in South Carolina are very experienced. They are Colonial folks. They know what's going on. But these policies have such a small premium amount, they're pretty irresistible. I think you guys all know that folks that work in this industry are not offered a whole lot of benefits all the time. So life insurance is absolutely critical. For those folks that work going from store to store and drivers that qualify, obviously an accident plan would be just a wonderful thing to have. The accident plan, what Ronnie was saying, the difference between the low and the high is $1. It's $4 a month, not a paycheck. It's $5 a month for the high, not a paycheck. So these guys are looking at East Central, and they're looking at a per paycheck amount that's $2 and $3. And we're averaging, obviously, if you do your math, I was public high school graduate, and I could figure this one out, a couple of policies for each individual that sat down with us. So we're not into trying to make $1 million on this account. What we're trying to do with this account is, number one, collect declinations. Number two, you all know that the fuel that fires all enrollment companies is the sale of voluntary benefits. And so we have positioned these things, probably under-positioned them, but we're okay with that because, we just want to be able to help these folks out because they don't get this all the time. I'll say this once again. On the medical plan, hi, this is Vince McLaughlin. How are you? Listen, do you participate in the medical insurance here? You don't? I can show you the medical insurance here, but tell me a little bit about what you're doing, and they'll say, hey, I'm on my parents. Matter of fact, those are the people who didn't show up because culturally, the district managers back in South Carolina, and Nick, you might fall into that same category in Illinois. And so I'm going to need to know this because I'm going to be down in Los Angeles with the California enrollers, is if they have the same type of culture. I'm not going to let it happen, but all I need you to do is report to me and tell me, hey, this is what's going on in Illinois, because I'm going to be asking. So, we're going to move down the road from the health insurance directly and the MEC plan directly into what we do. And so that's where I want you guys to do a great job in making sure that they understand the benefit without getting too detailed. On and off the job coverage. Take a look at this for a benefit menu, or for a schedule plan on an accident plan. This, that, this, that, this, that. And look, right here, it's $2 a paycheck. It's $3 a paycheck. So participation is going to happen if we do that sales strategy that way, where we do discuss the one core benefit. We do discuss what's going on with them. It's also your responsibility to talk a little bit about if they're on Medi-Cal, what they can get and what they can't get. So the California enrollers, you know the drill on that, May and Gina. Life insurance is just absolutely a vital necessity for these folks because they don't get offered that stuff. So that's going to be a big, huge seller, and it has been so far. And what's been a real surprise to me is the hospital confinement coverage. I think we wrote out of 73, we were like 15 of them. So those folks that do participate in the medical insurance, Nick, more information for you, buddy. 40 people are on the medical back there, and we're going to be watching. So you just do your normal thing, but we're going to be watching to see, and we're going to get your opinion because you're going to be out there on the front lines, and I'll be speaking to the enrollers in Long Beach because I'll be there. I'll be your maitre d'. And, I just want to see what their reaction is because they're going from a United Healthcare plan that we didn't have access to for you, Nick, for that Anthem plan. I don't want to compare plans, but I just want to tell them that this is what it is now. And again, those folks said, hey, well, I have the United Healthcare plan. Well, then let's get a little deep in the weeds and help them out and do the right thing for them. But we've seen the results already of what we put together. On my end, I should have priced them up a little higher on those VB benefits, but I'm okay. And so's Mike. We're okay with what it is so far. We just need to everybody be together on the same strategy. And I know with all the many years of enrollment experience on this call that we're going to get the same results that we've seen in just 2 days over in South Carolina. What I'm going to be doing, and I'm not going to be there all 4 days for you guys, but what I'm going to be doing is watching and comparing those folks that show up compared to those folks that signed up for an appointment. And then I'll be reaching out to district managers, and we'll just kind of play it by ear how to strategize that, saying that Billy, Jimmy, and Johnny didn't show up. How come? Because the compliance rules, you guys, are 95% of all benefit eligible employees have to have been seen, offered, and participated or declined, or the account is out of compliance. So that's just as important goal as it is writing that good old premium that keeps us all employed. So it's really important that we all know kind of where it's at. Now, you folks down in LA, again, I'm going to be doing a lot of helping out. So, Ronnie, what I want to talk about next is the hard copy stuff. So, you guys, just like in any account, we're using eCentral. We'll have the MEC plan and the health plan and the eCentral, and the MetLife plans obviously are going to be on there. But what we ran into, this is in a restaurant trust they're being enrolled into. And that restaurant trust is a TPA that is managing the health insurance. There's going to be an application, and the application is going to be a hard copy application. And just the other day, and too late for this particular account, eCentral, and there was no encouragement from us, but actually Benbrook Insurance Services, which is the broker on this account, we now have that in eCentral, but it's not going to be a part of the enrollment that you're going to be doing. For you on eCentral, it's going to be clicking yes or no for participation. An employee walks up, and what you're going to be manned and womaned with is the restaurant trust application. It looks intimidating, and it's not. It's 8 pages, and we don't have to do that. It's not pre-populated, nothing. They're going to sit down and put their name, rank, and serial number that you're already going to have in East Central, and then we're going to check things like yes, Anthem, no, Anthem, yes, Kaiser, no, Kaiser, and then Ronnie, whatever I'm missing on that app, and a signature, and that's really pretty much it. But
That's
unfortunately,
pretty much it. Yeah, but Vince, the only thing is, not to confuse you guys, what they did do, and I don't know because I haven't seen the hard copy that they shipped off with those 8 pages to locations, is highlighting the right one. It's the HSA 4500 plan Anthem, and it's the Kaiser HSA 4500 plan. There might be more options on that list. Ignore them all.
Right.
The only thing we're offering is the one plan. So if there's other stuff on there, because that was designed as like a universal application for the trust, because they have other groups that they're going to use this for. In this case, we're only dealing with the one. All this material will be drop shipped at your location. And so with the 8 pages, which is kind of their like application form for the Anthem or the Kaiser, you're just going to have them put their name and then do the John Hancock, and they're taking it or they're waiving it. That's it. Then you have the MEC plan. It's kind of this benefit guide, and the first page is kind of like an enrollment form. Same thing, name, Hancock, take it, waive it. And then there's a third thing. I know I wrote this down when I sent you guys. It's the MEC, it's like an all-inclusive enrollment form, kind of in an Excel like format. And that has the plans. They want that filled out too, for whatever reason. I haven't figured that one out yet. So there are 3 forms that they would like manually filled out. Now, we're still getting this information captured on East Central. All these things are built out on East Central, and you're still going to do the same thing on East Central. You're going to either waive or decline it. But the reason why we're doing that is because in the future, we are going to use the mapped applications. So that's why we want this stuff enrolled also for post-reporting purposes. We want to be able to keep track and do a spreadsheet for them at the end on who took what. So we want to make sure that whatever you do manually matches up to what you put in East Central. So that's going to be something that's really important on those forms. So they're going to have that one packet of the core material that you're going to need to take care of. And then the MetLife, they drop ship some brochures and SBCs. So that's going to be there for you when you show up as well.
So Nick, real quick, there's a lady and you might want to write this down. There's a lady by the name of Carol Mittman, and that's Mittman. And she supervises the district managers of all the Chicago area and the 2 locations you're going to go to. She's pretty much go-to lady. If she's hovering over you, I need to know. Not a big deal. It's not anything bad. It's just kind of her personality. For the folks in California, and I'm going to be down there, there's a lady by the name of Helena Nunez, really sweet gal. She's been the HR director for a whopping 6 weeks. So she walked into an absolute whirlwind. And so that's the services that we do. So the folks down in Long Beach, we're going to have just a nice group hug, and we're going to have a good time. So Nick, for you, at the end of every day that you're working there, I need you to, obviously scrub these written apps, and those apps need to stay at the location in which you're at. And I need to make sure that you've given them to somebody in authority. And I want you to just don't even keep a mental note. I want you to keep just some sort of a written note who you gave it to. For Nick, and sorry to keep talking about Nick here, the company has an intranet system, and what they do and what they've done in the past, and I had to learn this just by discovery on my own, was they scan these things in and they send it to their corporate HR so they can start the process, and then they mail them in for you, Nick. For the folks in California, we're going to collect every day, and I'm going to figure out one of these on day one, how we're going to do it and who we're going to do it to. Apparently, this is a training center. The training center in California is I haven't been there. I tried to get there and they weren't around. But the training center has, I'm going to assume has Wi-Fi. We're still in the middle of that and talking to them about that. If they don't, we'll work around it. However, there is an employee, another Krista employee that works at that training center, and I'm going to figure out who we're going to be dropping off applications to every day. I'm going to ask that you guys do what all enrollment companies do at the end of the day. When you're putting your applications together, they go in alphabetical order, guys. That's the signature of a great enrollment company. And that's a signature of the level that we need to have this done at, that you'll see on all of our accounts. You know, we're trying to get out of the paper form business, but until we're completely out of it, that's what has to happen. And again, Nick, for you especially, I have to know where they went every day because of all the days that you're going to be working. So we can keep track of that in case somebody doesn't raise their hand up or somebody's pointing a finger. We need to be above board. You folks in California, we're going to have that decided for you on Monday. I'm going to assume that Helena's going to be there or this Krista gal, and we're going to have a spot for them to be able to do it. They'll pick it up and they'll take it back to their office. Now on Friday, Gina, for you, if we're piling these things up, I'm not asking you to be the alphabetical order lady, because I'm asking all enrollers to get together and do this at the end of the night. You guys can Rochambeau, you can flip a coin, you can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, those things are in a nice little pile and they're in alphabetical order. So we can do that as well. Some folks will be traveling, some folks won't be that far away. So I'm asking you guys to be professional about this issue and to do this the correct way. So we'll figure it out in California as we know where to keep them and what to do. So very, very, very important. So with that said, Ronnie, what have we missed, Ronnie? Yeah.
I want to talk about two items that are kind of important. One are the links. Okay. We're doing slotted online scheduler, and they are filling up. We're probably about halfway there for California, and we're probably about at least 80% there for Nick's area in Chicago. You all have access to this. The links are on the enrollment guidelines for each state. So if you want to know who's coming in at 12 o'clock, you can just click on the link, and it has everybody's names. For Nick in Chicago, you're the only one, so you know those are the half-hour slots and who your next employee is that's coming in. In California, there's four slots per half an hour, so you're going to know, who's coming in, which is going to be kind of nice because you're going to have those login IDs that you're going to have to use. In addition, the company has asked us to do one thing in particular, which has caused a little bit of a ripple effect. The company gave us a census. All the information for the employees, for the most part, is already in the database. Please look it over and make sure that the profile information is correct. If not, you can let me know. If it's just an address or a phone number or some sort of typo, please feel free to correct it. If it has to do employment or salary, don't go messing around with that. Call me and let me know as far as that goes. But the one thing they did not have was emails, and they've requested that we collect emails. The only thing, because East Central, and this is kind of hardwired into their system, since we are doing it with the employees logging in, kind of like a self-enrolled but agent-assisted, versus us logging in with our credentials, after you're finished with your enrollment, and I put this in the enrollment guides, and you're probably wondering what this is at the end of the enrollment guides. It's a snapshot. Every employee that you put an email in, and we have to collect emails, or at least they've requested this, may get an email from EASE at the end saying that your benefit enrollment has been submitted. This is a notice to let you know that your benefit elections have been submitted for review. Your coverage is not finalized until it's been approved by the carrier. You may review your benefit elections at any time by logging into your account. If you have any questions, please contact your HR administrator. And then there's a login button. We don't want them doing this. So please, 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 at the end of your enrollment, let every employee know, hey, you may get an email from East Central. this was designed for self-enrollments, which is not what we're doing. It does not apply to you. Do not click the login button, because we don't want them going in after the fact and making changes to what you did, because then that's not going to match up to what you've done manually. And unfortunately, Ease can't stop this. It's auto-generated. It's hardwired in there. It's kind of a catch-22. If we didn't have an email, this wouldn't happen, but the company has asked us for an email. So if you can just be kind of proactive at the end of each employee, be like a Memorex recorder and just say, you know, every time at the end, by the way, you might get an email, you know, regarding your benefits, letting you know you can click on this login button, review it, let them know it doesn't apply, please ignore, please do not click the login button. If they have any questions, they can contact you.
Is that kind of clear to you guys? Now, we brought this up kind of a half an hour into the call. So that's really vital, because we couldn't get, because they had a lack of email addresses, we couldn't send out to them to be able to do that. So we're the ones that are in control of this. So you'll be able to log them in. Don't even share it with them. Don't, just enroll them, give them their benefit statement, or email it to them as far as Nick is concerned, and that's it. Don't talk to them about, hey, I'm doing this password, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Just talk to them about what they want to do. Talk to them about participation in the one core benefit, and talk to them about MetLife, and move on down the road. Now, the other thing about the sales strategy, and I'm sorry guys, but I got to say this: they walk in and say, hey, I want to delete everything. Make sure you do the compliance thing. Say, you know what, that's great. That's fine. But here's what we've got to do. I got to go through here and do this. I have to explain this to you, especially the MetLife stuff. Can't hint. And what has happened is, when that has happened, and then they see the price, they go, oh shit, I'll do that. And we need that, oh shit, I'll do that answer. So that's pretty important, guys. So no sharing of the passwords to the employees. And make them do their thing, man.
I just want to let you know that they're going in with a temporary login and password. They probably will never remember their login. But the problem is there's that login button, but then it asks them to create a new password. And it's you can advise on this, but technically, are we going to have the employees create a new password, or the benefit counselors?
Are we set up for the benefit counselors to just go in and do it per employee, Ronnie?
Well, it's set up as an employee login, not as an enhanced enroller login.
I know.
So,
that's why I'm talking about not sharing.
They wouldn't know either way, because it's not one of those situations where we're dealing with, like, you know, security. But what's going to happen is that you have the temporary login and passwords that I provided to you guys on an Excel spreadsheet. The names are by state in alphabetical order. So when you click on the URL to go to the marspizza.ease.com, you're going to put in that temporary username and password. By the way, very case sensitive. You can just copy and paste it from the Excel spreadsheet. It will, however, prompt you to create a new password. Now, typically in the colonial world, we would never, you know, the employee would have to do that. In this situation, since it's non-colonial, Vince, I'll defer to you. Either we can have the employees create the password or have the benefit counselors do it, but I would think it would need to be consistent.
Counselors, do the password. There's nothing that's going to happen with regards to that. So do the password yourself, get them in, get them enrolled, get them declined, and get them out of there. And because we left it with 30 minutes a piece, you know, that's going to be longer than what's going to happen. So we know this, so that won't be a terrible pace. Language challenged folks that need Spanish might have to wait a little bit, because we only have 2 of 4 of you. Nick, you're going to have to find a good friend. And Carol Mittman is very well aware, and I've discussed this with you already, that we weren't able to get a bilingual enroller for them. So they're going to have to accommodate. If they're not accommodating, you need to let Ronnie know. And that's a really important point, you guys. So to keep it simple, stupid for everybody, your first course of contact on this account is Ronnie. And depending on the subject matter, Ronnie will let me know. And Ronnie will let me know if it's something I need to know. And if it's something I don't need to know, then it's something I don't need to know. But, you know, logging in and getting going, you guys have all done this, so I believe in you and love you. You know, I just know that just, you know, that we'll get going on that first day, and it'll all, you know, after we do 2 people, it's like riding a bike. So, Ronnie, that's really all I have. I don't want to get into any more detail than that with regards to the sign-on process. I just want it to be handled that way, and I expect it to be handled that way. So,
Okay, I think actually that'll be fine, because ultimately at the end on this system, they actually do an electronic signature. So I think everything would be compliant. I just want you guys to be consistent across the board with it, whatever you decided. So go ahead, do it. It could be the same for everybody, it doesn't matter. But you have the usernames will remain the same. It's just the password that's going to change.
Okay, guys, question time. Anybody have questions? You guys have been a good little audience.
Nope, all good. Got it.
May, you cool? May, you still on the phone?
Yeah, I'm looking for the mic. Yeah, I'm good. I'll send questions
good.
if I have any.
Cool. Nick, we need to get a little deeper in the weeds on the plans for you.
Definitely.
Okay. So let's schedule time. I'll be traveling. Ronnie will be in the office, and let's work on that offline. Matter of fact, excuse me, I'm in kind of a bad area, but I might call you here in a little bit if it's not too late for you. It's already 8 o'clock for you.
No problem.
Okay. Anybody else with anything?
All good.
Okay, guys. Listen, thank you. Here's a couple things. One, get on that appointment scheduler and look at it. You're not going to hurt anything. You can't do anything. Just look at it. Nick, especially for you, and then the LA enrollers, just let's take a look at what's going on. We tried to build some breaks in. Tried to do that for you too, Nick, after you brought that up, so thank you. Number 2, the test employee. Ronnie, if you want to go over that real quick, you know, for them to be able to piddle around with the test employee if they think they need to. I know a lot of you guys have already been East Central a lot, so not a big deal. But if you need to do it, fine. You know, we got the weekend, man, and that's when we get to put our hair down a little bit. So if you want to do a little homework so we can be really proficient, really good at what we do, and be very successful, I'm going to ask that you take the time to do that as you're, I don't know, watching TV or something. So.
Yes, and I do
Again,
have 2 test employees ready, Vince, for a couple of people, one for California, one for Illinois, and I will be in the office all day tomorrow. Just know first thing in the morning I have a couple of meetings, but go ahead and you can just send me a quick email, and as soon as I'm finished, I will contact you guys individually, and I have no problem, you know, going over the information or doing a go-to-meeting with anybody who needs to go walk through the process of Essential. I want you guys to go in feeling confident, and, you know, knowing that you know what you're going to be doing. If you need to run a test employee so you feel, you know, better about it and you're not seeing it for the first time, I definitely recommend it. We don't want you seeing it for the first time come Monday. But Vince and I both know it usually takes that first, you know, couple hours of the first day of an enrollment. And once you guys get in the groove and you see it, it'll all click and it'll all make sense.
Okay, guys, I really appreciate you being on the call. It's your personal time, but we needed to hear from you, and we needed to talk to you about the enrollment. So if nobody else has anything else, I just want to bid everybody a good night, and we'll definitely see you on Monday. And Nick, you know what? Like I said, let's schedule some time.
You got it.